You are happy to tune in to the I'm Making It Happen radio show with exceptioneers Nykole Tyson. We're with 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. And on I'm Making It Happen, we discuss how we can make it happen in our minds, bodies, finances, business, and culture, despite the inevitable and not so pleasant challenges. And that's to ultimately allow us to realize that we have the ability to improve and maneuver every and any situation that we encounter. And today I'm really excited because we have the Water and Power Authority in studio with us. Specifically, in studio, we have Shannel Peterson, Director of Communications. Also, Don Gregoire, Interim Chief Operating Officer of the Water Distribution. And Noel Hodge, who's in studio with us virtually. And he is a Chief Engineer of Water Systems. So we're going to be talking about the recent water challenges in Frederickstead and the project replacement projects currently underway to help improve the water infrastructure on St. Croix. But before we get into the details, I always want to say good morning to everyone in the U.S., St. Croix, St. Thomas, St. John, the British Virgin Islands, St. Kitts and Nevis, and anywhere you are in the Caribbean. Thanks so much for tuning in, as well as all those listening live on rebroadcasting on rebroadcasting.com from the East to West Coast, and wherever you are in the world. Good morning to you. Also, good morning to those watching live on Facebook at I'm Making It Happen. Please do like and share. And you can also join us because you'll see the individuals that we have in studio online. So you'll kind of be more up close and personal. And as I mentioned, today we're taking a closer look at an issue that has directly affected residents and businesses on St. Croix. And I think in St. Thomas. Just St. Croix? Okay, St. Croix. And we're going to talk about the recent challenges with water distribution and what upgrades are being put in place. And we're also going to talk about what's going to be done to address those challenges, including the prudent replacement projects currently underway to replace and improve aging water infrastructure and on St. Croix. So, as I mentioned, we have Don Gregoire, Interim Chief Operating Officer of Water Distribution, Noel Hodge, Chief Engineer of Water Systems, and Shannel Peterson, Director of Communications. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
Good morning.
Thanks for being with us today. Just one second. Alrighty. So, before we get to the second, and Sunday, August 23rd, and it was a great event. I was very happy for the turnout, and I just wanted to thank my team that helped make it happen with the time frame we had to promote. I want to thank our sponsors. I'm going to name them right now and then in the end. And also all those businesses that contributed items that helped us raise even more money for the students. And so we couldn't do it without any of you. And that is important to note, all right? So I want to thank the VI Lottery, NAPA, Bay Partners, Kirk and Leah Tuning, West Indian Company, Indotech VI, Bates Truckin', Urban Foot Care, Virgin Islands Parts, SMG LLC, Imaging Center, J. Benton Construction, RT Park, Estate Shield, Alternative Real Estate, One Communication LLC, Paradise Peak Builders, Starlight Promotions, Rebroadcasting, I-95, WSCX, VI Consortium, CC1 Wine and Spirits, Coca-Cola, Ultra Michelob, II on the Go, Food Catering, Carambola Golf Course, Bella's Secret, Lorraine Chicken Shack, The Buccaneer, Fly the Whale, and Seaside Market. Also want to give special thanks to Liberty, G-Max, One Love Gas Station, Sam Gas Station, Gateway Gas Station, Crucian Gold, Latoya's Victoria's Secret, Bath and Body, Tropical Bracelet Factory, IB Designs, Rouge Duty Free, Hamilton Restaurant, Home Depot, Allure Lingerie, 340 CrossFit, Harbor Prime Restaurant, Carlos Furniture, Sonia's Jewelry, Joya's Jewelry, Molly's, Pampered VI, Big Beards Adventure Tours, Teddy's, Armstrong Ice Cream, Optimal Printing, and Crucian Cake Queen. I want to recognize the corporate golf teams as well, which were Napa, VI Lottery, J. Benton Construction, West Indian Company, Indutech VI, Bay Partners, and Omni Systems. If you hear my voice, I'm still recovering from being on the mic all weekend. And also it warms my heart, everyone that came out. It's going to be bigger and better. So I'm sure if you heard about it, we give away a lot of prizes that exceeded the amount of monies that people have put in, but definitely everything, like Mario said, one fills a basket. So it was a great time. We had great entertainment, awesome food throughout the weekend, and great people and awesome networking. All right. So next time, make sure you're there. If you wasn't there, we'll be giving those dates, in the fall season. So without any further ado, as I mentioned to you, we have the Water and Power Authority, Don Gregoire, Interim Chief Operating Officer of Water Distribution, Noel Hodge, online with us, Chief Engineer of Water Systems, and Shannel Peterson, Director of Communications for the Water and Power Authority. And we did have them say morning. And I do want to ask as we start, well, how are you guys doing? I know he's been busy. Hold on, sorry. Go ahead.
It's been very busy, but definitely thanks for having us on. I think we're just here to spread some information for the community. I also think there's a lot of miscommunication that's going out, so this definitely gives us the opportunity to share with the public.
Awesome.
Yeah, same. Doing well today. We've been doing several radio rounds over the last couple weeks. Very particular about the water situation here on St. Croix. So looking forward to adding to what has been shared in addition to the press conference that we participated with earlier on Monday with Government House, because it's very fluid and the information that we shared Monday has definitely changed and similar to the information that we shared last week, simply because that's just the way it works on the grid right now, or with the distribution system for water.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. I think it needs to be noted that you're, being proactive and making sure people are getting the information firsthand. And like you said, there's misinformation, and the best place to get it is from this source. So thank you for taking the time to connect with the public. And I guess at some point we will take questions like at the end.
Yeah.
Okay. And so can you give us an overview of the recent, so as you mentioned, the water issues, can you give us an overview of the recent water challenges that affected Frederiksted and what caused the problem?
Sure, I'll definitely take the lead on this. Before I start, I definitely want to put some shout outs out to Seven Seas, Elvis Pemberton and his team on St. Croix, John Clark and his team on Seven Seas on St. Thomas. They've been definitely going above and beyond trying to make sure that they're producing as max capacity as possible, deferring any minor maintenance just to make sure that we have as much water available to put on the distribution system. And then I also want to thank my staff, the maintenance guys that go out every day, fix the leaks, my operations personnel, and also my administrative staff and engineers that go out and we try to solve these problems as we face them moving forward. So, to start off, everybody is aware that we are in a drought situation, looking at Puerto Rico on a whole and seeing what they're going through. Our situation is a little different. Seven Seas is producing max capacity. Their max capacity on St. Croix is approximately 3.7 million, and that's their rated capacity. So right now they're producing about 3.5 million gallons per day. And I know a lot of people believe, well, if they're getting water from the ocean, we have a big abundant source, but we are limited to what we can produce. So right now, when you look at overall consumption due to drought, Seven Seas right now is doing about 3.3 million a day. And our consumption on St. Croix is approximately about 3.5 million a day. So what does that tell me? It's telling me that a lot more people are using water. And that's mostly focused on our customer base who their cisterns had gone empty. And now they're switching to WAPA water to fill their systems. The water haulers, obviously, even people outside of our distribution network, we've seen like 100% increase, just the water haulers coming into the station, picking up water and deliver it to their customers. So, as we've been definitely trying to work our way through this. I'm sad to say that the guy that sells the water is praying for rain, which that's not something that I would normally do, but it's definitely impacting our customer base. And as you mentioned, Frederiksted, I just want to touch base on that a little bit. So Frederickstead is pretty much at the end of our water distribution system. And that the main tank that supplies Frederickstead is the Kings Hill tank. And that is a 5 million gallon tank on Kings Hill that sits right on top by Central High School. So everything from Kings Hill tank to go west is gravity fed. So as Kings Hill starts to lose water, west starts to lose pressure because that is the high point of the distribution system. So right now we have less than probably about, we last time I checked was this morning, we have about 600,000 in the tank. I think it dropped last night because we had a leak in Catherine Rest. So as the tank climbs, in other words, if as it gets the volume of water increases, that improves the pressure in Frederickstead area. So anytime we get below 17 feet, we're approximately about 3 feet right now. The tank's about 45 feet high. So anytime we get below 17 feet of water.
Can you say that? What do you mean that you're currently 3 feet?
So we right now, currently, we have 3 feet of water in the tank.
Of the 45 foot.
Of the 45 feet, which is a total of 5 million. So we're under 500,000 gallons worth of water. And we're trying to manage that. You know, we've already put on hold all our flushing. We're only flushing areas where that need to be. So our regular routine flushing, we have eliminated that. We've made adjustments on our standpipe where we are only open the standpipe from Monday to Saturday. We reduced hours from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. We did that. So we also, you know, we're constantly making adjustments to our system, trying to push as much water to the specific areas as possible. And we've been also asking the public as well to assist us in water conservation measures, report any leaks as soon as you see it so we can address it as soon as possible. So, we've been definitely trying our best to manage the situation, but I want to be clear that our system is old. It was never designed to handle this consumption, which has increased severely during this drought season. So it's not that Seven Seas facility is not making enough water. Our system itself is just not designed to move that amount of water in the system, and especially to the key areas that we needed. And that's just limited to the system being old. You know, we have pipes from the 1960s and stuff. And, moving forward, and Mr. Hodge is going to touch base on that, we're going to be right-sized. And a lot of the lines right now, they have exceeded their life expectancy, and they have also exceeded, based on the size, the demand criteria. So within the projects that we're coming up, we're looking to upsize a lot of the lines that allow us the flexibility to move more water at different parts of our system to make sure that we can supply our customers and expand. We definitely want to expand in the future to areas that don't have water, to the different communities as well.
Well, thank you for that detailed explanation. So just wanted to back up a bit. You said that, people think, well, we're surrounded by the sea. Why are we running out of water? So explain, like, how is that created? How is the water created, and why is there a limit? Like you said, it's like the 3.3 million gallons per day.
Right.
We're consuming more than that.
I think it's important to note we are not running out of water. That's not the issue. Production is not the issue. It's not that we're not producing enough. It's that the water can't make it to Western St. Croix fast enough, because all pipes are connected and everything starts at the Richmond, in the Richmond area where Seven Seas Water Group produces the water. So we want to emphasize and make sure everybody understands it is not a production issue. It's not that we're not producing enough water, because like you said, the ocean is vast and we have plenty of water being produced. The issue is that between the consumption use before you get to Western St. Croix and the impact of the leaks that we've had over the last few days, and then to add to that, the amount of customers that have at the same time switched from cisterns to potable water. So there we have a lot of customers who aren't normally on the system that's interrupting pressure, that's then creating the leaks that we're seeing and the repairs that are needed, and then the challenge of maintaining that inventory, because everything past the Kings Hill storage tank is gravity fed. So once we don't have the sufficient amount of water in the Kings Hill storage tank, customers in Frederickstead then start to see low water pressure. And we just want to emphasize that, the reason why Don's shouting out Seven Seas Water is because they are producing um, water sufficient for consumption. It's just that portions of the island, based on the inventory levels, isn't allowing the pressure to be high enough, or I guess ideal enough, for when they open the tap, they're seeing that consistent flow.
Right. Just let me add to that. That's just due to the system limitation, due to the fact of our age infrastructure. The lines wasn't sized for this amount. Again, I'll just repeat it. The lines wasn't sized for this amount of consumption one time. This is definitely not just a drought. This is an extended drought. We've had droughts before, but definitely this being an extended drought has definitely caused additional issues for us as moving the water as fast as we can through the distribution system.
So I get it now. And you did mention that. So sometimes you have to repeat a couple times.
For sure.
And so it is not an issue of water capacity. It is an infrastructural issue because of the pipes. And now because we have so many people demanding on demand for water, it's causing issues with pressure. It's causing leaks in various areas. Is that what I'm getting?
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
is correct. And most of the areas that we've been getting calls from are like the higher elevations of Frederickstead. Buildings or more, they have been calling it, definitely bringing that to our attention as well.
And I'm glad you mentioned that too, Don, because like we talked about, this is a different scenario every single day. So when we had some of those leaks last week, Friday and Thursday, and when the repairs were completed, immediate customers started to see restoration within a couple hours. Frederickstead started to see restoration on Sunday, a little bit more on Monday, and then we even began to see some of those higher elevated areas start to see that improved water pressure on Tuesday. And then unfortunately, between last night and early this morning, we ran into a couple additional leaks. And so because we've had those additional leaks, now we're almost back to where we were last week Friday, because not only have we lost the inventory, but generally when we have a leak, that means the water has to be shut off temporarily so that the crews can safely work on those repairs. And once that water is shut off, because again, everything is connected in some way, it impacts the inventory in the tank, and then it further impacts our customers in certain areas in Frederickstead. And we even ran the numbers a couple days ago. And Don doesn't want me to use these, but we ran some rough numbers before today showing that after we had done several of those repairs, we were really looking at about 200 customers that were seeing that low water pressure. But again, that's going to grow again as they work in Catherine's Rest this morning, and they're working on another leak. Did we ever get the other area, Don, where that second leak was found? Okay. Oh, fantastic. So there wasn't a second. Well, I mentioned because we mentioned on the radio this morning. So I just want to, for the public's awareness. So it's just one leak that we have right now that's impacting. And so people think, well, if the leak is in Catherine's Rest, how is that impacting me all the way into Williams? And just to reiterate, it is going to have an impact because of the way the system is built right now. And honestly, that's probably where Noel's going to come in and talk more about what are the long-term solutions that when we have things like extreme drought or even just extended dry periods. Because somebody mentioned this the other day, they were like, oh, this is our dry season. I'm like, no guys, this is not our dry season. This is normally when it's rainy. That's why they call it hurricane season, from May 1st to October. This is normally when we get our rain, and then our dry season is generally from November, December to April. So this is very uncharacteristic, especially being at the end of August and we haven't had a lot of rain. And so with the cisterns drying out and people not only switching to potable water if they have that access, but also we talk about standpipes, the water haulers having an impact on pressure.
Okay, great. So, as we move along, there was a question about for one of the callers, and I think it's appropriate to ask. I was going to wait for them to call back, but they said there's a tank. Is there a tank in Frederickstead that could be fixed? Is there a water tank in Frederickstead?
We have a small tank in Frederickstead, it's New Street tank, but it only holds about 10,000 gallons. So at this point, um, we also have Mountain Tank, which is probably about 3 feet right now, where Mountain Tank does have the ability to feed Frederickstead, but as consumption has gone up, we have done depleted that reserve in Mountain Tank. So Mountain Tank will pretty much serve Frederickstead anything above 17 feet, and then with 3 feet right now, it's not going to give me the kind of impact I would want to address some of these issues we're having. But
Okay.
again, Mr. Hodge is going to come on and he's definitely going to shed some light. There are plans to put some storage in Frederickstead that way at least Frederickstead could stand alone in events like this. So I'll definitely leave that section for Mr. Hodge to explain to the community.
Okay. I do need him to call the phone line. We're gonna take a break, call into the studio if he hasn't already. Um, so we'll take a break and we'll get that taken care of. So we're here with Water and Power Authority. And discussing the water issues, and we're going to be talking about the upgrades to the system so that these issues can be reduced.
So I could definitely start talking about the upgrades while we wait for Mr. Hodge.
After the break.
Oh, after break. Okay. Sorry. I guess I'm getting ahead of myself.
All right, great. That's great. Excited. All right, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this short break. Okay, we are back. Listen to I'm Making It Happen with Nykole Tyson. And as you know, we're talking with Water and Power Authority about the water issues that's been experienced on St. Croix. And the last we were speaking, we were talking about the upgrades. Going to talk about some of the upgrades. So we have Chief Engineer on the line, Noel Hodge. Can you hear us, Mr. Hodge? Mr. Hodge?
Hello.
Okay, great. All right, welcome, Mr. Hodge. So we were anticipating.
Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. So thanks for joining us. And so the question was about, so we hear about the challenges. We understand that it's an infrastructural issue of the water pressure and being able to reach certain areas. So tell us about what are some of the upgrades to mitigate this issue?
Yeah, I'm not hearing you.
Okay,
can you hear me clearly?
Oh, okay, can you hear me better now?
Yes, I hear you now.
Okay, great. So as I mentioned, we're speaking about the infrastructural issues, and we understand it's a water pressure issue with the aging pipes. So what are some of the upgrades that's going to be implemented to mitigate this issue, the water issue?
Yes, good morning. So the good news is that help is on the way. WAPA has received a FEMA grant. It's called a prudent replacement grant, where WAPA was able to convince FEMA that it would be better to replace the entire water system instead of making new repairs. So that was approved. And so essentially, we will be replacing over 90% of the system, including water, all the water lines, water pumping stations, and water storage tanks. So that work will be done in conjunction with other local agencies, including Public Works, Waste Management, and then also the WAPA Power. So we're going to have a one big approach where as we come into the various communities, we will take the road once and put in the water lines, put in the electrical duct bank, put in the sewer lines, and then the storm water culverts and drainage pipes. And so that it will be a long-term project that's going to commence in spring of 2027 and go for the next 5 years until we complete all of replace all of the water lines, replacing all those old cast iron pipes with new PVC piping, and making upgrades to bring the water system up to industry standards. So, we're going to have to get ready because over the next 5 years, there's going to be a lot of infrastructure improvements encompassing all the various utilities here in the territory because of this major FEMA investment.
Okay, that's great. So at least there's some relief that's going to be happening. What's the time frame? Did you say that? And how is that going to impact, like, I guess, residents or traffic areas?
Yeah, so right now we're in the design phase, and the first work packages are going to start rolling out in the spring of 2027, and it will continue over the next 5 years out to 2020, 2032, and 2033, right? And so it's going to be coordinated with our contractor to minimize traffic as much as possible. Where we need to reroute traffic, we're going to do that. And then obviously once the work is done, the roads will paved and restored to minimize impact to the public.
Okay, great. So I'm happy to hear that you guys have identified like resources to address the issue. You're in design phase, from what I understand. Then you will start probably being able to do construction or repairs in spring of 2027. But what's happening now? What are the strategies to assist with reducing the issues that's happening now with the water issues in Frederickson?
Yeah, so we have some medium-term projects. One of the projects that's critical for us is making upgrades to the Contentment and Concordia pumping stations. These are the pumping stations that move the water from east to west, from Richmond into Mid-Island, and then, like Don said, the tanks will take it from there. So these stations, once we upgrade those, will increase the storage levels at Kings Hill as well as Mountain Tank. And so we're fast tracking these improvements, and based on the schedule that we have, we want to have those two stations fully upgraded and in operation next summer. We have early completion date of October 2027, and those will have immediate impact in terms of bringing up the storage level in Kings Hill and the Mountain Tank. So that's one of the medium-term projects. So you're not going to have to wait 5 years to see improvement. We should start to see improvement as we get through this dry spell, and we'll be prepared for next year. Is in the unlikely that hopefully we don't have another drought.
Okay, so let me see. So once we get more water, if we get rain, then it'll reduce the demand on the Water and Power Authority because of those that have cisterns are calling on the haulers, which is impacting the water pressure, right? And so if we get rain, then that'll be a big help. But until then, we're still going to be seeing, we're still going to be experiencing issues with the water. Hold on. Go ahead.
Let me just clarify that again. I know Mr. Hodge wasn't coming in too clear for some of the listening audience. Most of the water haulers deliver water to customers that are not on our potable water network.
Right.
And I know we've been talking to some of the senators trying to stop, pretty much kind of regulate. We don't want, at this point in time, we're trying to prevent people from filling their swimming pools and stuff like that. So that's one aspect of it. And then for our customers who are on our potable water network that have the option to use WAPA water to fill their cistern or even for just to provide their household water, I'll just repeat again, as the cisterns go empty, they have the option to fill their system, or they could go to WAPA water to feed their home. So, we've definitely been asking our customers, if you are in the situation where you are connected to WAPA water and you have the ability to fill your system, don't fill your system all the way. Because the longer everybody stays on trying to fill your system, which may take a day, probably two if you're using a small garden hose, our pressure will get depleted. And that will affect everybody downstream of you now trying to get water, because all that pressure is getting separated 100 different ways. So that's why Frederiksted right now is seeing pressure issues, because consumption is up. And I just want to explain to people that when we talk about 7Cs producing their capacity about 3.5 million a day, our Richmond tank is full. So we have almost 10 million gallons at Richmond. Our challenge is moving that 10 million gallons to the other parts of the island to distribute the water. And that's why Mr. Hodge mentioned doing the pump stations, again, is important to moving that water, because now we could right size the lines going to the pump station, and then we could upgrade some of our pumps as well to try to move more water in the water distribution. And that feeds the western side of the island. So I hope that provided a little clarification for some people.
Yes, it does. And there's questions. Again, you've already answered it. You guys have Water and Power Authority has some solutions that's going to be implemented coming, in the near future. On the line here, they're asking, but what about today? So again, I know it's a reiterating, like you're saying the same thing, but again, people are just wanting to know, like, this issue is happening today. I mean, we already know, okay, we have to deal with it. So what are some strategies that people should do in regards to, like you said, reducing, if you have cisterns, like I had to fill up and my hauler had to go to the, the WAPA to get the water. Actually, I use well water, so you don't have to come to you guys, right?
No, we don't get portable.
All right. So I'm not causing any issues for you guys.
No, you're not.
But I know he was saying there was a lot more clients coming through. So a way is not to fill up your tanks. For those that don't use Water and Power Authority as their potable water, they reduce how much you fill the cistern. Also, like sometimes I like to take long showers, so reduce the time in the shower so your water can be, don't be depleted as much. And what other suggestions?
So I could probably knock off a couple suggestions, let Shannel kick off.
Get to the mic.
So definitely, like, turning off your tap in between brushing your teeth. Like, some people like to leave the water running and brush your teeth while the water is running, so you could shut that off. Shower instead of filling the tub. That's another option as well. Even when if you're using your dishwasher or you're washing dishes, wait till all the dishes to collect one time. Don't do a piece now and a piece later. So all of these are different things that we could do to basically conserve. We want to try to conserve as much water as possible, especially during this drought period. And that's just because we're not even sure when this drought period is going to finish at this point. I just want to put out again that FEMA did reach out to us yesterday. We had a conversation with Director Josh and Vitima, and they said, all eyes were on Puerto Rico, but they were checking in with us just to see, our operational status. What are some of our challenges that we've been having? So we had about a half an hour to an hour.
Yeah. And I think the biggest takeaway too there was Puerto Rico is dealing with an issue where they actually are running out of water because they utilize reservoirs. We don't utilize reservoirs. We utilize the ocean. So we don't have the same challenge that Puerto Rico has. But I think it was important just for people to note that we are still in communication with the federal partners. And so if there's any assistance that's needed, then we're having those conversations now and not waiting till later.
Okay, great. So I want to be able to be fulfilling my promise. I told people that they could call in at the point. There's some questions here online. So if you do, I have somebody holding right now. We'll take that question, and I'm going to give you guys rapid fire questions. Don't be long in your questions. So you can call in. For those people, that I told you to call back, feel free to do so. There's a question here online that said, I live in Concordia Manor and I haven't gotten water from Friday, August 21st to now Wednesday, August 26th. When are we going to get running water in Concordia Manor? It's not being able to have, they don't have running water. Yeah.
So I actually spoke to the manager this morning of Concordia Manor, and they did indicate to me that they initially had water on the first floor of their facility, and as of today, they didn't have any water at all. So that's definitely something we'll be working on today.
Okay, great. Hope you guys heard that. They're working on that today. All right, let's see if this person is still holding. Hold on.
Morning, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Wonderful. Good morning to Nykole Tyson and the WAPA crew.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Nykole, thanks for having them. WAPA crew, we need to hear from you guys more often. I know we're talking about the water situation today, but we need to also hear from you about the other side of it, electricity and stuff like that. The purpose of my call is to give out a kudos to WAPA, the WAPA crew. Most times, WAPA, you hear the cussing, and when you do good, I guess people don't necessarily call. But from Friday, I'm seeing the same crew, the same set of people from one place, from point A to point B to point C, repairing pipes. They were at Alfredo Andrews, they were by Neighborhood Pharmacy, repairing pipes, and they're doing it after hours and weekend. So sometimes, again, we usually cuss WAPA a lot, but we don't see a lot of times when, and these people have families, so they're working those extra hours away from the families just to make sure that we're as comfortable as we can. And so I really, really want to thank those crew. I want to thank WAPA for having those crews up there after hours and on weekends. And WAPA, like I mentioned,
Thank you.
We need to hear from you more often, Nykole. Thank you for having them. And I hope this is not, we're going to have them sooner. The frequency is going to be greater.
Thank you. I do appreciate that.
Okay,
Thank you for your call, and thanks for your acknowledgement of WAPA. I know they work, and it's like they said, these are things that has been needed to be fixed, and it's not just happening now, and they're addressing it. And so I know there's a lot of improvements all over. So I don't know how you guys get any sleep from the electrical to the water, but definitely we do appreciate everyone in the Water and Power Authority, and want to also make sure that everybody is safe while they are addressing these issues. We'll take this call.
Thank you.
Okay, you're in the air. Thanks for calling.
Hello, this is Mr. Hodge. The call dropped.
Oh, okay. Hold on.
Hey, Mr. Hodge.
Hey.
Okay, you are on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Amazing, super duper Nykole Tyson.
Thank you. Afternoon.
Yes, good day to your guest,
Good day.
Shannel Peterson. You are in the presence of Public Information Officer Extraordinaire Nykole Tyson. She could give us some pointers.
Appreciate
But to
it.
the young fellow that was talking there, I don't know why they have not touched on the Concordia tank that served Frederickstead. It's been demolished since the hurricane, and it don't seem like there's no urgency to repair that tank. When you got to pump water from from Kingsville all the way Frederickstead, that tank in Concordia, Frederickstead, next to Public Work, that Concordia tank served its purpose. So please address that issue about the Concordia tank. And one thing also, please, I am willing to go on WAPA's water as long when you do extend your base, because I'm in an area where there's no running water, but I'm concerned that I'm going to get that brackish water. When your tanks drop to 3 feet, what else are we expected to get? Nothing but that brackish water. So just like Nykole asked earlier, we're surrounded by the ocean, and 7C should be able to produce more if you have the storage capacity. So is storage capacity one of your problems? And if so, could that Concordia tank help? I know you speak about another one that's in Frederickstead, but I'm not referring to that one. I'm talking about the one next to Public Work. And when is your plan to repair that tank? I'll listen to you offline. Nykole, thank you. Continue to be amazing. And thank you for having WAPA Day, because you have some great workers, And I'm thankful you have dedicated workers out there in the field trying to serve. And also address the issue of these pumping stations you have around the island that you're not using. Thank you so much.
Thanks for the call. And I do want to commend Shannel. She's been doing an awesome job with WAPA. So, commend her for that.
Thank
So,
you.
and I don't know how she does it with everything else with her life. I always ask her, how do you balance everything? But I do want to mention that you did say it's not an issue of creating or the water issue. It's again the pipes getting the water to get to the destination.
Yeah, that is correct. Specifically on St. Croix, as I mentioned earlier, the Richmond tank is full. That's a 10 million gallon tank. Our issue that we're having on our distribution system is moving the water from the Richmond tank to the rest of the distribution system. And that's part of the project that Mr. Hodge is talking about. We're going to be upgrading a lot of lines. So basically, lines that might be a 6-inch now is going to be an 8-inch or a 10-inch. So we're going to be upsizing the lines. We're also in the pump stations. We're looking at fire flow, which is something we don't look at now, but we want to make sure that.
What's fire flow?
So basically, what we're doing, we may have pumps right now that designed to handle demand. But let's say there's a fire and the fire department needs to pull more water from the system. We want to make sure that we're going to be automating these pump stations so that they have the ability where they're going to be fully automated. When pressure drops, they will pick up the extra flow and bring the pressure where it needs to be. So all that's going to be automated. We're definitely going to be using a lot of the new technology out there, which is SCADA. We're going to have a centralized control room where we can monitor all our tanks. Right now, we manually have to go out to each tank every day, twice a day. Operations team do it diligently just to check to see what the levels are. So all of that is going to be part of the project that Mr. Hodge did indicate where we're going to be moving in terms of prudent replacement.
So I have you back on the line, Mr. Hodge. Is there anything you want to address from the questions that's been asked so far?
Yes, I want to address the question about the Concordia tank. That tank was approved for replacement by FEMA. So we have made the request from Public Works because originally the system was under Public Works. So to give us the land and so that we can rebuild the tank because it's going to serve Frederick said. And then also the gentleman spoke about pumping stations. We do have approved funding to restore the Adventure Pump Station, which is a station more on the mid-island that would boost water going towards west, towards that same Concordia tank and Frederick said. So those are also two projects that's included in the funding that we received, and we are moving forward with those projects.
Okay, thank you. I just want you to, if you have this on speaker, just put the phone straight, closer to your mouth, or take us off speaker because it's kind of hard to hear you. A question here online. So thanks for the response for those two questions. There's a question here online saying, why can't WAPA physically top up the various water tanks so they don't go below 3 feet? 3 feet. Yeah, that's the question.
That's a great question, right? We have this conversation several times as to how it's not.
So that is our goal, and I just want to put it out to the listening audience as well. When we're coming into hurricane season, similar to what we try to do on the electric side, we try to keep a little storage on hand, right? So our target, and that goes for St. Croix, St. Thomas, we want to fill our tanks to at least 80% capacity. So if our max capacity in terms of storage is 22 million on St. Croix, we want to be 17 or 18 million gallons capacity going into hurricane season. So, with the additional demand, we have not been able to gain the way we normally would. And that is definitely a challenge for us. And until we get over this hump about the drought situation, it's going to continue to be a challenge. And as the drought continues to be prolonged, we will be faced with more challenges. And that might require some additional restriction, I would say, possibly moving forward if things continue the way they are.
To add to that, because I know the simplest question was, why can't we just take trucks, right, and just fill up? But the reality is that this is millions of gallons to fill these tanks. Not only would it take weeks to even get it if we're thinking about this idea of trucking, but it doesn't address the other issue that we're experiencing now that's impacting the inventory levels, which is the leaks that are occurring. That's causing causing the drops of the inventory levels. But trust that we have a lot of smart people on the team across the water department with our engineers. So they are looking at all aspects of what can happen, what can be done to not only build the inventory, but also to get water from Richmond faster towards Frederickstead. And as mentioned, part of the what they're balancing is the aged infrastructure. So if we were to push out significantly more water from Richmond, then we're going to run into busted pipes because the pipes can't take that amount of flow. So they really are managing a series of complex things in order to get water to where we want it to go, which is to the tap of all of our customers.
Perfect. And we have another question. Hold on.
Hello?
Okay.
Hello?
Yes, you're on the line.
Yes, good afternoon. I'm calling. I haven't had water. I haven't had water since May, and I've been paying my water bill. And now now they're sending me estimated bills. How can I be paying for a service that I'm not getting?
Great question. So we see that can happen. The best route to get that resolved is to contact customer service.
I already called them, and they know the issue. I live in Mars Hill. The whole neighborhood's been calling. We spoke to whoever in charge, everybody, and nothing is being done. And then I'm getting estimated bill. That's not fair. We pay for a service, and we don't have no water. All my plants, everything is dead.
So you say nothing is being done. Generally, if you did call, they'll have some type of work order to make an adjustment, but that adjustment does take time, especially for the estimated bills. So if you haven't gotten that update as to what is happening regarding the estimated bill being inaccurate, I do recommend that you can always send them an email asking for that update. And I'll share that email information. If you want to send us the account information offline, then we can follow up directly as well. But this is not a new situation for customer service. We have estimated bills both on the electric side and the water side. And so we know that it's occurring. In fact, it's not just us. This is something that happens across the nation. It's actually pretty common for this to be in place in events. But the part that I know that you have the issue with,
when the water issue is going to be solved in March Hill, because from May, June, July, and we're in August, and we're going to be in September.
Yeah.
Almost 5 months without water. And my neighbor has sent emails to whoever's in charge. Everybody knows what's happening in March Hill.
We do.
Everybody have water.
Absolutely. And as mentioned, we can't control the extreme drought right now. That's the biggest issue right now is we have no way of knowing when the drought is going to end, which is going to provide that relief so that we can get those inventory levels up. One thing that we can say is we do have some weather coming in this weekend, hopefully. And we know when cisterns are being filled, then that means that allows our distribution system.
Potable water. We don't do that.
I'm sorry?
Do you think that it's right for me to be paying a water and we're not getting the service? Is that fair?
Absolutely not. That's why I'm saying you can share your information and we can follow up on that, because you should absolutely not be paying for water and not getting.
Ma'am, we can't hear both of you speak. So I want to apologize. We want to apologize for the inconvenience to the Mars Hill area. And she hung up. So I was going to have you get your information so that Shannel could have responded, follow up with you directly. So if you want to, please do call back, because that is a concern, right? And who wants to be paying a bill for something that they're not receiving? Now, is there a way, Shannel, that they can just stop billing Mars Hill if they're not receiving the water?
So again, that's a customer service question. I don't have the answer regarding, because some of these things people get estimated bills for different reasons. And so like she said, I'm sure it's not something they're not aware of, and I'm sure they're trying to find ways so it doesn't happen, but clearly they haven't placed that solution in effect as of yet. Yeah, and we know it's not just Mars Hill, right? So that's why I reiterated that we are very much aware that and it happens both, again, on the water and the electric side. And unfortunately for some of the water customers, they're going months in this case without water. Whereas with like our electric customers, at times if they go on vacation for a month and they were estimated, unfortunately, because either their meter doesn't speak directly to the system, because it's a malfunctioning meter, and or the meter reader just didn't have the opportunity to read their meter. Those are some of the reasons why. And honestly, other things could be there's an unchained dog that's in the way, or it's locked because it's behind the gate. So there are a lot of reasons why people can receive estimated bills. I think what adds to the frustration is the fact that they're not receiving water. Now, if you're not receiving water and your bill isn't estimated, then it's going to reflect that accurately. And clearly she's saying that's not the case because they're not getting water.
Right. And so we know that it's not a dog, it's not those things, because a group of people is not getting the water. So I would just say that it would help with the communication. Just look into it. And,
absolutely. Reach out to customer service. And I know that because we have this extensive issue in certain areas of Frederiksted, I always recommend people to email customer service as a really good way to track both the responses, the follow-up, etc. And so that email is customer.service@viwapa.vi. And customer service is really good at responding within 24 to 48 hours via email. So if you don't have the time to, call on the phone, which is 340-773-2250, you can also email customer service. You can upload your information and really build your case essentially around why your estimated bill is inaccurate. But I think it is important to note, just for people who aren't receiving water, generally you will not receive a bill because you don't have that consumption, and your bill is only going to reflect what you actually used.
Okay, so I think we have another call, and then we'll be closing up. Are you on the air? Are you on the can you hear us? You're on the air.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning to everyone. So I live in the Mars Hill Fortune area. We haven't had a drip of water since May of this year. And this is every year. This is not just this year. This year is just the worst. I've seen it. I guess one of the factors is the drought. However, we are still receiving bills. The bills are estimated. Like right now, I'm speaking on the radio with you. I'm also sending an email to Ms. Kelly, Ms. Francis, and several others. Because first we received a bill for 132. I sent an email. Then we receive a bill now here for 146, an estimated bill. Now, mind you, from May to now, we haven't had a drip because we're up high. We're some of the people up the highest because our area is used as a tsunami evacuation point. Okay, but we're still receiving bills. So I just heard what you said about the bills, but we are still receiving bills. And when you call WAPA, they're quick to tell you that maybe you have a leak. So in my email, I'm asking Ms. Kelly, then if you don't have water, how do you know that this person have a leak? Not making any sense. So this is something that you guys need to address because several of my neighbors actually went and paid a bill because these people are elderly and they want to make sure that they pay the bill because they're terrified that WAPA is going to cut off their water source. And it's unfair to these elderly people. We should not be treating our elders like this. We fully well know that there's no water. Okay, so that's something that you guys need to work on with the billing department. Okay? And thank you so much for your time and assistance.
Thank you. And
Thanks for your call.
absolutely, we'll be following up with customer service to see what needs to happen so that you guys can not receive those estimated bills, considering you're not having water.
Hi, I thought this was Mr. Hodge, but it doesn't seem like it. You guys are on air. You're on the air.
I do want Don to address something though, if possible, with that question.
Will do. I have you. If you're on the radio and you called in, you're on the air right now. Do you have a question? They were holding for a while. I thought it was Mr. Hodge. Okay, we're disconnect. Go ahead.
So the piece, Don, I think is important. If a customer doesn't have water, how does the authority know that?
So we always ask our customers to report an outage, and that works for both water and electric, where you could go on our website or other means to report the outage. We have been compiling the list of customers that are affected based on their elevation. I know the engineering team, I spoke to the engineering team about possibly put in a booster pump at some point at the bottom of Mars Hill. And most likely it's going to be incorporated in the new design as we move forward with put replacement. However, the estimation portion, I definitely think if you follow Shannel instructions and get that information to us, it will be reported to us. Most likely, as my team is going to go out to verify the actual meter itself to make sure there's actually consumption. And then we could just document those customers moving forward that needs to be taken off this until we know for a fact that we could get water back to Mars Hill.
And the thing is, I think it just can't be automated, right? Because as we said, this is pretty fluid. And in Mars Hill's case, yes, they're indicating it's been consistent. But when we talk about water flow, low pressure versus no pressure definitely plays a role. So if at some point they had some consumption because the inventory levels increased, they had enough pressure to get it through, then it should still be, the meter would only reflect that, and it shouldn't reflect anything else. So we'll definitely
yeah, that's correct. If you're using water, we have the new smart meters out, and plans are to tie in those new smart meters to the new AMI so we can actually get the readings in the office. But the new smart meters will tell you what the actual usage is. It also tells you if the customer has a leak. If it doesn't see no usage, I think it's over a 24-hour period, it will flag the meter and say you got a particular leak as well. And so, we're trying to utilize the technology moving forward as we try to standardize the smart meters throughout the water distribution system for St. Croix, St. Thomas, and St. John as well.
Okay. So, this seems, I didn't even know that was happening in the West like that. I wish there was a way you guys could just stop the bills for the Mars Hill. I know you said it can't be automated, right?
Well, because I know it, yeah, I'm just going to say it can't be automated because that's essentially also going to mean when they do get water, they won't get billed.
Well, just turn it back on. You have the...
But then to Don's point, there's no way of knowing that until somebody actually calls in and says, hey, I have water, or hey, I don't have water.
I think we'll have an indication once we start to build inventory in our system. We pretty much know at what level is Kingsville and when Mars Hill customers start to lose pressure or lose water. So I think we could. I mean, there's always ways to be better. I'm not here today saying that we're doing it. We're perfect. We have.
Well, you're not in the billing department, so
that's true. That's true. But
it's still one WAPA.
But I'm saying is that you don't have control over that per se, but you have an influence to kind of figure out how to kind of assist those individuals, because
Absolutely.
for me, I would be upset, and I would not be paying my bill, but then I would be also concerned like the older individuals. Or what if it does start and then they cut me off and I don't get my water? So I think that's a pocket, and hopefully you guys could like address that. We have our last call. Let's see, you're on the air. Thanks for calling.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. You're on the air.
I'm calling concerning the Concordia Manor. Concordia Villas, because you all stated that some crew supposed to be going to Concordia Manor. We're just adjacent to Concordia Manor, the homeowners in Concordia Villas, and we haven't had water since Friday. And when it came about a month ago, we were just dripping very slow. Then in the wee hours of the morning, like 1, 2 o'clock, you got to get up to try to get some water to try to wash and do what you needed to do, because that's how it's been running. Like if you don't get up like in the 4 of the morning, wee hours of the morning, you're not getting water. That's about a month ago. Okay, until it went Friday. And all this time, our meters will be running. You're getting these ridiculous bills, and then we are not getting water. You remember that your meter is going to be running all this time, that we getting this little drip and stuff like that. I mean, it's not fair to us what's going on here. This is unacceptable. It's really ridiculous what's going on with WAPA with this water problem. Because for decades, I've been hearing about these pipes and these aging pipes and such. Over a decade, we have the one to Public Works there, where I just heard Mr. Hodge say we're going to ask Public Works for the land. What kind of craziness is that? As Public Works still, their buildings there is, they from the hurricane and they haven't rebuilt or refurbished or whatever they needed to be done to repair those buildings. How do you mean Public Works for the land? The same big tank was there all this time. Public Works was there. What is the problem that's why we're having so much problem in Frederickstead? Because that tank custom to be filled, but it's over a decade to have that problem there. These things is just, I don't know what's going on here, but to me, I don't care when nobody, this is just poor management, what's going on. And that's why we're suffering so much in these islands. Okay? I'll take care.
Okay, thanks for your call. We understand your issue and your concern. I do have to go. I did go over, and we know. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. So one of the things we didn't have before is funds, and this prudent replacement is the solution, because these are the funds we needed to do these capital projects.
Turn down your volume on your computer.
My computer is off.
There's some feedback that just happened. Hold on.
Want to turn on my phone?
I'm not sure what happened. I didn't touch anything.
Okay. Turn it on my phone, maybe. Oh, there we go. It was the phone line. Okay. Yeah. So we didn't have the funds to do these projects. So now that we have the funds to do the projects, we're seeing a lot more progress. And I know that for a lot of customers, this is, as you said, it's been years. This is not a new issue. It's an every year issue that's just exacerbated, or it's a lot worse than normal because we've had this extended drought of extreme conditions. But know that the funds that are coming in, which were essentially the progress there between the work from USBI Rebuild and again the support from FEMA and ODR, we should see in the next year, based on the numbers that, or the information that Noel provided earlier, we'll start to see that relief. So hopefully before next summer, we'll have more positive news. I mean, even most recently, we met with the contractor who's doing a lot of that work for the horizontal bundles. So a lot's happening, and there's progress on getting these key infrastructure pieces like the storage tanks and other solutions that have been in place, but we just haven't had the funds, because it's not a surprise that we've had some financial challenges with the cost of fuel over the last few years. And so I hate that it's always like it's coming soon, but at least we're out of, in a lot of cases, we're out of the planning stage, and we're in the execution stage. We're executing a lot of these plans that have been in place and a lot of these solutions, and we actually have the monies to do so. So that's that's at least some good news on the horizon. And we'll be sure to keep the community informed as to that good news. And each island has their own challenges. And right now for St. Croix, this is definitely the most glaring one. And then, for other places like St. John with generation, good news there with the new generators coming in this week or today onto the territory. So things are happening, and we understand that it's hard to see because what you're looking at is turning on the tap and it's not there. So we do apologize for that and thank everybody for their support and understanding.
And in closing, I want to add something as well. So we do utilize not only FEMA funds, but we utilize EPA funds as well, through our local DPNR here for Harold Mark and his team that help us out with that. And we've been steadily doing infrastructure projects on St. Croix, and these projects are really expensive. I'll just say, like, for instance, we did Frederickstead, that was 3.8 million. We just finished Campo Rico, that was 7 million. Hannah's Rest, that was about 3.1 million. So these infrastructure projects are costly. And to the honest truth, without getting funding from via EPA or FEMA, it's definitely something that is helping WAPA move forward in building our water infrastructure to where it needs to be.
Okay, great. Thanks. Real quick, the questions, if you could respond to them. One, they wanted to know why, and this is not under you guys, because I'm sure you guys don't have this. It's not under your purview to clean Cricky Dam. Well, a caller said, well, this is the best time for drought. So maybe communicating with Public Works or something to clean that out. I'm not sure. That's a question. So that we could use that. Maybe that was a flow, I guess, back in the day to get water through there or something. Mm-hmm. Is that a...
Like you said, that's a DPNR question.
DPNR question, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Next question was about Diageo. How does the Diageo water use affect the system?
So Diageo does have a 4 million gallon tank on premise, and they have reached out to me already in regards to if we need any assistance, because they're also hearing the cries in the community as well. But right now, Diageo is not impacting our ability to distribute water to the Frederickstead town.
Say that last part again.
They're not limiting our ability, WAPA's ability to distribute water, because, like I said, they could come off a WAPA water and use their 4 million gallon tank.
So how can WAPA include them in the distribution? Is that possible to get water from Diageo down?
No, it only works one way, and they also have a reclaim system that they also reclaim some of the water that they use as well.
What does that mean?
So basically whatever water they're using in the process, they filter it and they could also reuse it back as part of the process.
Nice.
So, Diageo has always been a good partner with us as well, along with Seven Seas, and they always reach out to us in times like this, which they did last week. And then we've definitely been having some conversation as to how they could assist us in the community as well.
Next question was, if everybody has meters, why are this being estimated? Why are bills being estimated?
Well, I think we kind of answered that before. There's a lot of reasons. If you have a dog, if you have a locked gate where your meter can't be reached, if there's weather conditions, we don't get to you within the time period that the meter reader needs to go and physically read the meter. That's another reason why bills can end up being estimated.
Okay. And in my situation, the meter stopped working and I didn't know. So make sure to check your meters.
And there's that. The meter can stop also working. And if it's not working, then that'll be estimated.
Last question. Somebody called in. They said about they're looking up stuff from 2017. WAPA has received $1.9 billion and they don't understand why.
Why now? I love that. When I came in, I said the same thing. We just got $1 billion for the St. Croix water distribution system, but allocating money and actually having money are two different things. And I think that sometimes when we have these big announcements, it can seem like it's going to happen tomorrow, but there was a lot that had to happen before we would actually receive the money, not even to mention the process of going through procurement, RFPs, the community input period. So I think it was, I don't know, Don, you have specifics on what even happened last year?
So we have to remember as well that all these infrastructure projects are going through ODR. We have this One Dig initiative where we don't want to be digging up the road for water and then come back and electric and for sewer. So part of the One Dig initiative is we're going to do planning. We're going to put all the infrastructure in the ground. We're going to pave the road. So that's part of it as well. So yes, WAPA does have funding. Other agencies have funding. We're trying to make sure that our goals are aligned. So when we're handling a specific area, we could go in, get everything done, pave the road, and everybody's out. We don't want to be this back and forth. WAPA coming this week, and then 2 months from now, waste management coming. So it's just about aligning us within the territory to get the job done.
Another question just slipped my mind, but they did ask this. I'm trying to sort the calls, so get it quick. They was like, okay, so when the hospital is built, and then also the HES or the refinery gets started back up, but the refinery doesn't use our water, never use the water from WAPA, right?
No, the refinery does not use the water, but just for bring up when we had a sargassum issue about 2-3 years ago, we had a limited water production problem. We did reach out to the refinery, and we are looking at potentially tapping into their source because they do have a desalination system over there that potentially we may be able to tap into some resources as well.
Perfect. See, good question. And then the hospital, they wanted to know, how does that affect the distribution?
So the St. Croix Hospital is not affected by the water issue because they're before the Kings Hill tank, and everything after Kings Hill tank is gravity fed. So from the Richmond all the way down to the hospital up to Kings Hill is pressured through our pump system, and then after Kings Hill everybody's gravity fed.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. Okay, so they are aware of these issues. That's one thing I got from the conversation. They're working towards fixing the issues. Many of them have been from years from these older pipes. So just want to reiterate, the issue is not a creation of water creation, or I don't know how to say it. What's
water production.
Water production. It is infrastructure issue with regards to the old pipes and the pressure going through, because so many people are now in demand of the water. And so there's a pressure issue getting to the location in Frederickson, because that's going like down.
Distribution and obviously pressure, yes.
Right. And so they're working on it. They're aware of it. Do make it aware, the authority aware of your areas that you are not receiving the water, and keep having your voices heard. Don't get tired. Okay. Shannel is aware of this situation, and she will get on it. And Don is aware, and Mr. Noel is aware. WAPA is aware, and some of their employees, I'm sure, are impacted. And so it's not just a silo thing. Is a community issue, and so they're aware. They're working on it. We appreciate you guys for doing so. Of course, everyone is apologetic about the inconvenience. I cannot imagine not having water, but maybe a solution is maybe getting a buffalo for those areas that know every year that you have an issue with water. Maybe getting a buffalo.
Yeah, we've been having conversations with some of the senators. They have called us to express their concern, and that's definitely looking for solutions to help some of our customers. I think that definitely is on the table as well.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. Shannel still looks so beautiful and happy. And I know she gets all these complaints every single day. I don't know how you manage, but thank you for all that you guys do.
It's because we care. It's because we care.
And and the WAPA, be mindful. We the cussing WAPA and everything like that, but these people have they have children as well. They're dealing with the same situation. We have to be mindful. There's not just, we think it's just us, but the people that are impacted as well are the employees of WAPA, right? So I'm sure there's employees at WAPA that work that live in Mars Hill, and they are impacted as well. And so I know if they could fix this thing yesterday, they would, and they're definitely working on it. WAPA is working on it. So just be mindful of that. It is frustrating. That's when the community needs to come together and see how we can help each other. When I was out of water after the hurricanes, my neighbors, I was able to, we all pitched work together to figure out things, and so now that's the time for those areas that's impacted to do that. And think of some new areas, maybe get a buffer, like I said, whatever it is, to continue what you need to do for your homes.
And I also think it's important that even customers who have cistern needs to make sure that they maintain their system, because you always want to have a backup. A storm could come tomorrow, a mainline leak may burst, but you always want to try to make sure you have a backup system that you can rely on in the event. Even if you use WAPA water, I want you to use WAPA water. But if there's something go wrong with a system and times like this where we know WAPA water is not available, you have a backup system that you could utilize in the meantime.
Okay. Yeah, and I was thinking about getting on the WAPA, but I'm not going to do that right now. Guess I'll wait. So I was gonna connect my house, but there's a comment here. Can you just make sure the Kings Hill tank is always full?
That is always our goal.
Okay.
Every single day we watch the numbers, we tweak the system. Operations is out there adjusting the valve, moving the water where it's needed, and that's our goal every single day.
What prevents that goal from being achieved?
Consumption, one, the system is limited to what we could do. Two, and then we're also constantly getting leaks, and we lose water every time there's a leak and it's not addressed timely. I've lost over 1 million gallons in one night because the leak happened at night. By the time we found out in the morning, I lost 1 million gallons worth of water. So it's we reach out to the community in times like this to help us, help them. So, if you see something, say something, call us. People call me.
If you see pools of water, streams of water along the road, those are key indicators that there may be repairs in need of the pipeline in that area. And that's going to impact your water pressure.
Yeah. Just last week, we had a leak by the hospital. And when we got there, everything around there is brown, and we got the grass is high, and we realized we had a leak. And I must say, Senator Frankie Johnson, sometimes I think he's one of my employees, and Senator Sanders, Administrator Sanders, he calls me all the time, and they say, Don, there's a leak. No, it's not. That's waste management. Don, I think there's a leak. Okay, well said. So they have definitely people that look out and they call me as soon as they see something, and I'm definitely grateful for that.
Perfect. Well, this is a situation, and we want it to be to be fixed. But WAPA is on it. They are working towards, resolving these issues and having long-term solutions. So we heard from Mr. Hodge that they're in the design right now for some long-term solutions starting in 2027. So we are going to do the dance for the rain. And hope that we have this rain come in this weekend, right?
I'll join you for that one.
Okay. So thank you so much, Don, Mr. Hodge was here, and Shannel for joining us today on I'm Making It Happen and helping our listeners and myself better understand what's happening, right? And what's to come. And as long as you keep communication, it's still frustrating, but at least they know that you guys are working on it. And we look forward to the improvements, the solutions that are being constructed right now. Water is one of those things that we sometimes take for granted until we turn on the faucet and we don't have it, right? And so that's why infrastructure projects like these are important for the community. And we now know what we can expect moving forward. So we just thank again all that WAPA is doing to mitigate these things. And I want to thank all those listeners, all the listeners, all the callers. Thanks for joining us today on I'm Making It Happen. With the exception of yours, Nykole Tyson. I went over and and I didn't get a call for being on. So they understand, the reef understands that this is a really important issue to communicate for the listeners to hear. All right. And so so thanks all. I also want to say have an amazing rest of the day and the week. We'll be back again on next week, Wednesday, from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. I will talk more about the events for the TF for tuition. And I will go into what we experienced and thank all those that was a part of it, especially those that flew in from Maryland and St. Thomas. I just want to mention we appreciate you. And again, we want to appreciate Shannel and Don for being here. They both look so great. Like they get sleep, but I don't know how.
We don't
get sleep.
I know. But you guys look well. So thanks again.
Thank you.
And we know you're working hard. So we'll connect again on next week, Wednesday from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Have an amazing rest of the day and week. If nobody told you today, WAPA, you can make it happen. All right. And for the community, as I always say, for the community, they can make it happen. If you don't see something happening, create it. Be the change. And until next time, keep thinking outside the box, coloring outside the lines. And remember, it's about you, me, we. So make it happen.